Kev, time to move on to this
Your favorite
week in
part,
trading
Patrick.
history.
This is your favorite segment.
It is. And I found a great little tidbit in history, and we're circling back to the creation of KKR, Kohlberg, Kravis, and Roberts, which back on May 1st of 1976, the investment firm was designed by the three gentlemen to take public companies private in those leveraged buyouts.
It was a crazy time.
Right?
Like it was nuts. And they were at the forefront of it all.
They were at the forefront. So 3 former Bear Stearns guys that started doing this, and then they create their own firm, and they started, and that was the craze, right? Like when you think back to the movie Wall Street, or as we're going to talk about Barbarians at the Gate, but almost all of this started with KKR, right? And that during the late 80s, that was the shit.
And you know what? I think that this is kind of an interesting point because it wouldn't surprise me at all if we're about to go into one of those stupid periods where dumb things happen and there's all sorts of takeovers that are dumb and make no sense. And like what happened today, didn't you see that there was an IPO and it was one of the best performing IPOs since the great financial crisis? Like there's some stupid so. Yeah. One thing you have to learn in trading is that history repeats. Yeah. And so this is one of the things that I like best about This Week in Market History is that we kind of learn these things because we should be on the lookout for them happening again. So,
for sure. So what I wanted to circle back, though, was one of the most famous takeouts was RJR Nabisco. And it's an interesting story. They made a whole movie about it, Barbarians at the Gate. And for our listeners, if you have not seen this, it's free on YouTube.
We'll put a link in the email that we send out. And Patrick brought this to my attention, and he said, I'm sure you've seen the movie. And I said, no, actually, I haven't. And I was kind of shocked when I went and looked at it. And first of all, it is cheesy. Like there is so much cheese in this movie. I thought I had wandered into a fondue party. Like it is so. It is kind of late. It was filmed in '93. I looked it up, but it's supposed to be in the '80s, and they're wearing shoulder pads, and it's so politically incorrect. And here, why don't we play this tape? Fuck you, money, which is just kind of a little taste of what sort of inappropriate behavior happens here. Roll the tape.
Whatever happens, you're safe, John. After the incredible way you've run the food division, there's no question about whoever buys it's going to keep you on. Hey, if you're not happy with the new brass, with your severance deal, plus your, 50,000 shares in Nabisco, you could walk away with $7 million, maybe more. We're not talking just fuck you money, John boy. We're talking fuck everybody money.
Fuck everybody. Right, Ross? Fuck everybody.
That's so funny, Kev. Yeah. But just to give a little bit of history on RJR Nabisco. So what it was Nabisco, which was a food brand company, obviously Oreos and stuff like this, and there was R.J. Reynolds, the tobacco company.
Right. So it was a tobacco company and a food company together.
Well, and what happened was that they merged together. They were two separate companies. Back in 1985, they merged together. So they took a food company, a tobacco company, mashed it together, and then came this big event, right, where Ross Johnson, the president, got the idea from Henry Kravis, one of the KKR guys, and then Ross stole the idea from Kravis and tried to do the leverage buyout.
That's right. The biggest leverage buyout in history.
And tried to do it without him.
Right. What's really funny is the fact that it occurred because the stock wasn't going up, and they were having trouble getting the stock up. So he decided that they were waiting for this new cigarette, and this new cigarette was going to be filtered, and it was going to be much more healthy because back then they thought that...
You're going to play this clip, Kev?
Yeah, we got to play the clip. Like, come on. I went out of my way to do it. So let's go with tastes like shit, smells like a fart. Play it here.
Bottom line,
Well, of all the groups we tested, the response to Premier was just about uniform.
They all said they tasted like shit.
Like shit?
Shit was the consensus, yes, sir.
They all said that? Nobody liked them?
Fewer than 5%.
You said you heard the results were terrific.
Well, there's nothing wrong with 5%, Ross. I'll take 5% of the smoking market any day of the week.
How much are we in for up to now?
To date?
To date, to here, to now.
Upwards of 350.
We've spent $350 million and we've come up with a turd with a tip? God almighty, Ed. We poured enough technology into this project to send a cigarette to the moon, and we come up with one that tastes like it took a dump?
We haven't even talked about the smell.
Well, what'd they say that was like? A fart?
Yep.
Oh, you're not serious. They really said that?
We've got an awful lot of fart figures, sir, yes.
Tastes like shit and smells like a fart. We got ourselves a real winner here. It's one goddamn unique advertising slogan, I'll give you that.
All right. You know what? That's classic. It's unbelievable though, but so they got into a huge bidding war. Now it wasn't the largest leveraged buyout in history, because I think Dell passed it later on, like a couple decades later, when Dell and then when they brought EMC, I think it the whole reversal was the largest. But for the longest time, this RJR Nabisco bidding war that started and drove was like the shit. Like it was the biggest leveraged buyout ever. And it was unbelievable what happened. And they made a whole movie about it. Fantastic piece. But I mean, that was the time. Like if you think about Wall Street and the movie and all of that, Gordon Gekko, like this was the late 80s.
Yeah, this was it. And I contend there's more of a chance that anyone thinks that this is going to repeat. Watch for this. This is my prediction. You're going to see this sort of stupidness, like I can't even speak anymore, but this sort of craziness occur in the future. And I'm just remember, history, doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. And watch for the next Ross Johnson in this next cycle.
All right. So let's move on.